TV soap news and spoilers say that in the shadowed corridors of St. Augustine's Hospital, where the sterile scent of antiseptic battles the heavy air of human suffering, a storm is brewing. It's not the kind of storm that rages with thunder and lightning, but one far more dangerous, a tempest of raw emotion, betrayal, and barely restrained violence. At the heart of this maelstrom stands Ted Grayson, a man whose life has been a tapestry of ambition, loyalty, and heartbreak, now unraveling thread by thread. Opposite him is Carlton Hayes, his business partner and, as Ted has long suspected, a man harboring desires that threaten to shatter the fragile remnants of Ted's world. Caught between them is Nicole, Ted's estranged wife, a woman whose presence is both a balm and a blade to the men who love her. What unfolds in this hospital hallway is not just a confrontation but a collision of past promises and present betrayals, a moment that could alter the course of their lives forever. Ted Grayson was never a man to back down from a fight. A self-made entrepreneur, he built his construction empire from the ground up, pouring sweat and sacrifice into every brick and beam. His partnership with Carlton Hayes was the cornerstone of that success. Together, they transformed Grayson Hayes Construction into a regional powerhouse, erecting skyscrapers and sprawling complexes that stood as testaments to their shared vision. But beneath the surface of their professional triumphs, a quiet rift had been growing, one rooted not in business but in matters of the heart. Ted and Nicole's marriage had been a love story for the ages, at least, that's how Ted saw it. They met in their early 20s, two dreamers with nothing but grit and hope. Nicole's fiery spirit matched Ted's relentless drive, and together they seemed unstoppable. But time, as it often does, wore away at their bond. The long hours Ted spent at work, the missed anniversaries, the promises broken under the weight of ambition. They all left scars. By the time Nicole moved out 6 months ago, their marriage was a hollow shell, held together only by memories and stubborn pride. Carlton, meanwhile, had always been there, a constant presence in their lives. He was the charming counterpart to Ted's intensity, a man whose easy smile and quick wit disarmed everyone around him. Ted had always trusted Carlton, considered him a brother. But there were moments, fleeting glances, lingering smiles, that planted seeds of doubt in Ted's mind. He'd seen the way Carlton looked at Nicole, the way his eyes softened when she entered a room. At first, Ted dismissed it as paranoia, the product of a marriage under strain. But as the months passed, those doubts festered, growing into a gnawing certainty that Carlton's feelings for Nicole were far more than friendly. It's a crisp October evening when the confrontation erupts, the kind of night where the air feels charged with unspoken possibilities. St. Augustine's Hospital is a labyrinth of fluorescent lights and muted voices, a place where life and death dance in uneasy tandem. Ted is there to visit his mother, who's recovering from a recent surgery, but his mind is elsewhere. The weight of his failing marriage presses against his chest, a constant ache that no amount of whiskey or work can dull. Nicole's presence at the hospital is a surprise, one that both soothes and stings. She's there, she says, to check on Ted's mother, a gesture that feels like a cruel reminder of the life they once shared. But it's Carlton's presence that lights the fuse. Ted spots him in the hallway, leaning casually against a wall, his polished demeanor at odds with the sterile surroundings. Nicole stands between them, her posture tense, her eyes darting as if she senses the storm about to break. The air crackles with unspoken accusations, and Ted feels the heat rising in his veins. He's not a man prone to theatrics, but something about Carlton's smug confidence, the way he stands just a little too close to Nicole, snaps something inside him. Carlton, Ted says, his voice low and edged with steel. Fancy seeing you here. Carlton's smile is a blade, sharp and deliberate. Just checking in, Ted. You know how it is, family matters. The word family lands like a punch. Ted's jaw tightens, his fists clenching at his sides. He's known for years that Carlton harbored feelings for Nicole, feelings that went beyond the bounds of friendship. He'd seen the late-night texts, the inside jokes, the way Carlton's hand lingered on Nicole's arm just a moment too long. Ted had buried his suspicions, chalking them up to insecurity, but now, standing in this hospital hallway, those suspicions roar to life. "You've had a thing for my wife for a long time, haven't you?" Ted's voice is a growl, each word heavy with accusation. Nicole's eyes widen, her lips parting as if to intervene, but Carlton speaks first. He steps forward, his smile fading into something colder, more defiant. "The truth hurts, doesn't it, Ted?" The words are a match tossed into gasoline. Ted's vision narrows, the world shrinking to the man standing before him. All the years of partnership, of shared dreams and late-night strategy sessions, dissolve in the heat of his rage. Carlton's admission isn't just a confession, it's a betrayal, a violation of the trust that bound them. Ted's mind flashes to every moment he ignored, every sign he dismissed, and the weight of it all crashes down like a tidal wave. He steps closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "It doesn't hurt as much as my fist hitting you in the head." The hospital hallway seems to hold its breath. Nurses pause mid-step, their clipboards forgotten. A janitor lingers nearby, mop still in hand, sensing the electricity in the air. Nicole's hand shoots out, grabbing Ted's arm, her voice urgent. "Ted, don't. Please." But Ted's beyond reason. His fist is already rising, his body coiled like a spring. Carlton doesn't flinch, his eyes locked on Ted's, a challenge in their depths. It's a standoff, two men poised on the edge of violence, each daring the other to make the first move. What happens next is a blur, a collision of instinct and fury. Ted's fist swings, but Nicole's quick reflexes pull him back just enough to throw off his aim. The punch grazes Carlton's shoulder, a glancing blow that sends him stumbling but doesn't land with the force Ted intended. Carlton recovers quickly, his own fists clenching, but he doesn't strike back, not yet. The hospital security guards, alerted by the commotion, are already moving in, their radios crackling with urgency. "Break it up," one of them shouts, a burly man with a no-nonsense demeanor. Ted feels hands on his shoulders, pulling him back, but his eyes never leave Carlton's. There's a promise in that gaze, a vow that this isn't over. Nicole is crying now, her voice a mix of anger and desperation. "What is wrong with you both? This isn't the place." But Ted barely hears her. His pulse is a war drum, his mind a storm of betrayal and rage. Carlton, for his part, straightens his jacket, his expression a mask of calm that only fuels Ted's anger. "You're losing it, Ted," he says, his voice steady but laced with contempt. "Maybe you should take a good look at why." The security guards are between them now, a human barrier preventing the fight from escalating further. Ted's chest heaves, his breath coming in sharp bursts. He knows he's crossed a line, that this moment could cost him everything, his reputation, his business, maybe even his freedom. But in that instant, he doesn't care. All he sees is Carlton's smug face, the man who dared to covet what was his. The aftermath is a slow burn, a reckoning that unfolds in the days that follow. The hospital incident makes headlines in the local papers. Local businessmen in hospital brawl over estranged wife. The story is sensationalized, painting Ted as a jealous husband driven to violence by his wife's alleged affair. The truth, as always, is more complicated, but the court of public opinion is rarely kind to nuance. Ted's lawyer, a grizzled veteran named Martha Klein, warns him of the potential consequences. Assault charges are on the table, though Carlton's decision not to press them hangs in the balance. "You're lucky it didn't go further," Martha says, her tone stern but not unsympathetic. "But this isn't just about the law, Ted. Your business, your reputation, it's all taking a hit." Grayson Hayes Construction feels the ripple effects. Clients start to waver, hesitant to align with a company embroiled in scandal. Employees whisper in the break room, their loyalty tested by the drama unfolding at the top. Ted spends sleepless nights staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment in the hospital, wondering if he could have walked away. But the thought of Carlton's words, the truth hurts, ignites a fresh wave of anger every time. Nicole, meanwhile, is a ghost in his life. She sends a single text, "We need to talk." But when Ted tries to reach her, her phone goes to voicemail. He drives by their old house, the one they built together in the early days of their marriage, and sees her car in the driveway. The sight of it twists the knife in his chest. He wonders if Carlton has been there, if the two of them are laughing at him, plotting a future that doesn't include him. The thought is unbearable, but he can't shake it. As the weeks pass, Ted grapples with the wreckage of his actions. The possibility of arrest looms, though Carlton's silence keeps it at bay, for now. Ted knows his former partner well enough to suspect there's a strategy behind the restraint. Carlton has always been a chess player, thinking 3 moves ahead. Is he holding the threat of charges as leverage? Or is he simply biding his time, waiting for Ted to implode on his own? At the heart of it all is Nicole. Ted still loves her, despite everything. He sees her in his dreams, hears her laughter in the quiet moments. But he also knows that love alone isn't enough to mend what's broken. Their marriage was fraying long before Carlton's betrayal came to light, and Ted can't ignore his own role in its unraveling. He thinks of the nights he chose work over her, the promises he made and broke, the way he let ambition eclipse the woman who once meant everything to him. In a rare moment of clarity, Ted sits down with a bottle of bourbon and a notepad. He writes a letter to Nicole, not to send but to make sense of his own heart. He pours out his regrets, his anger, his love, and his fear. He writes about the man he wanted to be and the man he's become. By the time he's done, the bottle is half empty, and the notepad is filled with words he'll never share. The story of Ted, Nicole, and Carlton is far from over. The hospital brawl was a flashpoint, a moment where suppressed truths erupted into the open. But the real battle lies ahead. Ted must decide whether to fight for his marriage, his business, and his place in the world, or to let the anger consume him. Carlton, with his calculated calm, holds cards Ted can't yet see. And Nicole, caught in the crossfire, must choose her own path, one that may lead her away from both men. Will Ted face arrest? The possibility hangs over him like a guillotine, a reminder that actions have consequences. Will he and Carlton come to blows again, or will their conflict take a more insidious form? And what of Nicole, the woman who holds both their hearts in her hands? Only time will tell. For now, Ted stands at a crossroads, the weight of his choices pressing down on him. The hospital hallway was just the beginning, a spark that could ignite a firestorm. In the world beyond the gates of St. Augustine's, where ambition and betrayal collide, Ted Grayson's story is a reminder that love can be a battlefield, and not every wound heals. Our TV channel Soap News and Spoilers is the place for those who want to know how the Salem story goes, as well as great Beyond the Gates updates and news, so subscribe to our channel to get what you want. Bye-bye.